Alright, so let's be honest, you've probably seen this squad 100 times, you've probably seen a lot of other YouTubers. So here it is on screen, pause it if you need to see it. I'm going to work on the assumption most of you don't. So let's work our way over to this Google Sheet. We have our list of all the different positions we're going to play. How we're going to do this, we're going to have 7 players miss the cut. We'll talk about the nailed on selections first. I think that for the most part should be pretty easy. We'll start with Pickford in goal. There's no doubt he's in my squad. He's in everybody's squad. He's going to start. There's not really any competition there. And then we can probably mark down Maguire and Mr. John Stones, at least in those 2 starting positions. Those would be the guys I would start. This is working on the assumption that Harry Maguire is healthy, which is not an easy assumption to make. Didn't play the FA Cup for Man United over the weekend, so we don't know about his fitness. Is he healthy? If he is, he's absolutely playing, and I'm working on the assumption this is a fully healthy England squad, which is a little bit dodgy to make in this spot, but he's on the plane, no doubt about it. Moving on to the right back spot, we can go Kyle Walker here, and once more, there's not really any competition here. Kyle Walker is one of the best right backs in the league at the minute, one of the best right backs in world football, and just seems to be aging like fine wine, still really, really top quality. The other guy we can put here, whether or not he plays at right back is to be seen. He was actually listed, if we go back to our England pre-training squad, he was right here as a midfielder. Whether or not he plays there, either way, it doesn't matter to me. He's on the plane. Doesn't matter how you want to, which way you want to slice it. He's there. He's there no matter what. Next guy we can put in here that we already know, Declan Rice. Obviously, £100 million transfer. He's only getting better at Arsenal. He started in every game of the last Euros and the World Cup, and is what it is. Gets a little bit dicey here. I mean, 10 again. We start to work into the guys that less nailed on. Jude Bellingham is not one of those guys. Starter at Real Madrid, about to win the Champions League potentially. Hasn't happened at time of recording. I believe that's next weekend, so won't have happened since this video is out. But nailed on selection, and it's not even close. Okay, we've got some big names coming in now. So let's keep it moving with Kane. Harry Kane's here, obviously. And the other guy I would like to put down here early, obviously, Bukayo Saka. That's going to be it for now. There are some big names missing, obviously. There are some big names missing here, obviously. Not there yet. Okay, so let's talk goalkeepers first. This is a little bit difficult. If Jordan Pickford gets injured, we are potentially in a world of issues. First of all, let's put a man that talked to you last year, before the summer, before David Raya made that move to Arsenal, and this guy's in the squad, and you're thinking, well, Finn, surely he's got a chance of being the #1 goalkeeper for this Euros. The answer is definitely not. Pickford had, yet again, another great season. However, Ramsdale's now been replaced. He hasn't played that same number of games that he needs to. He is here, though, and that kind of shows how weak our options are at goalkeeper. The other guy here is Dean Henderson, which leaves Mr. Dreams, Trafford, missing the cut. Again, Dean Henderson here didn't have a great season at Crystal Palace, but he's here because he needs to be here. We have his transfer market thing here. You can see 18 appearances, 30 goals conceded. He was replaced at Crystal Palace by, I believe, Sam Johnston for a time. But 47% and not good enough with the amount of goals he's conceded. Not going to do it, but in this case, he's going to make it because, let's be honest, we don't have a lot of other options. Which means James Trafford, again, didn't play very much for Burnley. He'd been good in patches, but you can't make an England squad. You got relegated, and just not a guy that ended up playing a lot. I think Burnley actually got better when James Trafford wasn't playing. Only 21 years of age. He's going to have an excellent career, I'm sure. But for the time being, as we wait for this to update, where did it go? Yeah, 74%, but 62 goals conceded. You can't start over Dean Henderson there. So he's going to miss he's going to be my first player to miss the cut. And let's work through these centre-backs. So a guy that I think has had an unbelievable season and, to me, has to be nailed into this England squad. and it's Jared Branthwaite from Everton. It helps he's left-footed. It helps he plays on that left side. John Stones has had a lot of injuries this season. He should be fully healthy by all accounts. He should be okay. However, it's nice to have that left-footed, left-sided centre-back, and I think he'll be a great option for this England squad. The other centre-back I'd like to add here immediately would be Ezri Konsa. Lots of questions about him. People saying, do you take Mark Gahey? Do you take Joe Gomez, who I'm actually going to include later, and we're going to talk about him later? Do you look at Lewis Dunk? Do you look at Gerald Quansah? Ezri Konsa, in my opinion, has had a great season. He also kind of adds a lot of other things. We talked about the issues that we have in this defense. Is Maguire healthy? Stones has had some injury problems. Luke Shaw, who we'll go ahead and nail him on here. If he is healthy, he's in this England squad and he starts every game. However, Ezri Konsa has played right back. He plays across the centre-back. He's played right of a back five. He's played in right back. He's played regular centre-back. He plays everywhere for a very, very good Villa team. And I think he's done an excellent job. The other guy I'm going to be including at left back is going to be Kieran Trippier. He needs to play somewhere. Whether he'll play left back, I'm not sure. He's played left back at times for this England team. Southgate's shown he can do it. And so I think he's going to be there regardless. Whether he plays left back in case Shaw isn't there, we'll see. And I guess I'll kind of put him here. Joe Gomez has to go. Joe Gomez, again, another left-footer, can play that centre-back role if you don't want to put the keys to the castle in 21-year-old Jared Branthwaite's hands. Joe Gomez has been an excellent partner with Virgil van Dijk this season. He can also play left-back if you don't want to play Trippier there, or there are injury problems, or Shaw's not playing, etc. So he offers that kind of positional versatility that you really need in the international tournaments. And you have 26 players for a reason. You need to have that many players. Which means young Gerald Quansah is going to miss the cut. This might be the last tournament he misses the cut. I'm going to be totally honest. This kid could be unbelievable. As a United fan, what he can do with Arne Slot and Virgil van Dijk next year will be interesting. He's going to help him a lot in his development. But this kid is very, very talented. And I think it might be the last tournament that he doesn't make the 26-man for. Which means we're also going to get rid of Lewis Dunk and Mark Gahey, as I spell his name completely wrong. Let's be honest, Mark Gahey has had a solid-ish season. I really rate him as a player, but too many injuries in an already injury-plagued team. I don't think we can afford to play him and afford to bring him. I'd like to bring him, potentially, but you've got a guy that, realistically, if you're looking at who you're going to take, you take Joe Gomez over him. Probably not, because Joe Gomez offers you so many more things. Jared Branthwaite's had a better season, and Ezri Konsa's had a better season. There's not really a spot for him there. I could see a guy like him being brought potentially if Shaw's out or we lose another, or Maguire's out. We lose another defender, then I think he's the kind of first guy in. And I just don't think Lewis Dunk is good enough yet, good enough really to play in this England squad. All right, so that is our defenders. That's it. Those are all our defenders. So let's move on to our central midfielders. We already talked about Declan Rice. Another guy in a similar profile, slightly different, Kobbie Mainoo. What a player. I think this kid should start. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to put my biased Manchester United hat on. I think Kobbie Mainoo should start, and he should start every game. Whether or not he does, I'm not sure, because you've got other guys that can play there. You could bring Jude Bellingham back towards that more of an 8 role and have like Foden start in the 10, which I kind of leaked already. I mean, obviously Foden's in the team, let's be honest. Moving on though, Kobbie Mainoo, elite player, great with the ball at his feet, in a very, very shoddy at times Manchester United team, has made an emergence, got an England call-up earlier in the year, has to be there. Has to be there. The other guy I bring is Conor Gallagher. I guess technically, according to this chart, he is starting. I don't think I would start him, but a very, very reliable option. Doesn't miss many games, and is always Mr. Consistent. You want to start him in a pivot with Rice? That works for me. The other guy I'm going to bring is a little bit of a surprise, and that's Adam Wharton. Kind of came out of nowhere with Palace and Ollie Glasner. He's a really, really excellent player, really, really top player, and I don't think he's going to get very many minutes. In fact, I honestly hope he doesn't get any minutes in any of the actual things. I hope he gets a lot of minutes in the friendlies and the pre-tournament friendlies. But this kid needs to experience a tournament, and I think he's very, very good. And let's complete our midfield with a man that has had an unbelievable season, and that is Eze. I think he's done really, really well. Another one of those Crystal Palace boys has had an excellent season and is really, really top quality. Okay, those are our attacking, our midfield players done. So let's make some cuts, shall we? I think we're only going to lose one guy here, and that is Curtis Jones. Don't think he's good enough. He's not better than Kobe Mainoo. He might be better than Adam Wharton, but doesn't do the same things. We don't need another version of him, but he's a very, very talented player, and I think we could be seeing him get a lot of minutes. And I guess the other guy I would get rid of here is James Maddison. I don't know. It really depends on what you want to do, as I almost throw James Maddison back into the team. I don't know what you want to do here, because I think Eze has had a better bit of form as we enter the back half of the season. James Maddison is an excellent player, and I am not offended or upset if Eze misses out and James Maddison makes the cut. Fine, that's okay with me. But even if you replace it, or even if you replace him with one of the guys I'm going to mention later, I just don't know. He had a very strong start to the season. Whether or not he makes this England team is a toss-up. Let's complete our right wingers, and we're going to go with Jared Bowen. Has had an excellent season. Another one of those guys that's going to be right on the fringe. You've got to think about it. You're going to see Jared Bowen's name, Eze's name, Maddison's name. They're all going to be thrown in there. Are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? I think he should. Has had an excellent game, excellent season, and I think he just provide you a couple more goals and more service, and maybe even a late guy who's going to flash out there and make some plays for you. As I feel like I've added one too many players here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, you know what? We'll get to that later. I've actually cut too many players off my thing, so let's get rid of James Maddison for now, and then we can have a bit of controversy as we get to the end of this list. Let's go left wingers. Number 1, very, very easy. Phil Foden has to be there. Don't care where you play him. Has to play. Has to start. You can throw him at central midfield, or you can throw him at the 10. You can throw him. I don't care. You can throw him up front if you have to. He's got to be on the field. It has to be. Doesn't matter where you play him. It has to be on the field. Another guy that is going to be interesting. Where you get this guy on the pitch, I think he's going to be a great impact player because he's got to play somewhere at some point. I don't think he starts with the attacking options that we have, but I think he has to play in some capacity. His season for Chelsea is unbelievable, and he's going to get bantered because he takes a lot of penalties and scores a lot of penalties. You need that. I don't want to lose on penalties again in the final. Cole Palmer, excellent player, easily on the plane. And finally, let's complete this with a man named Anthony Gordon. Excellent player, top player. Debated whether or not to bring him for a while. There are a couple of players here. You've got to look at your Gordon, your Bowen, your Eze, and your Maddison. We're all players kind of in that questionable bubble. I think I'm going to take him. I think he's too good to not play, or at least go. What his role is, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But top player, and I think he has to be included. And let's round this out with Mr. Ollie Watkins. Has to go. Absolutely no doubt about it. Which means we are going to lose Ivan Toney. Which is unfortunate in some capacity. Yeah. And yeah, I think he has to go, and Ivan Toney hasn't been that same player. If we're talking about no betting suspension, he comes into this year again hot with Brentford. Brentford will, as a result, would be higher than 16th place. Has to go. But the reality of the situation is he came back, he didn't look like his old self. He scored a couple of goals, but Watkins has had a much better season and a much better team, so he has to go, in my opinion. So I've left out 2 players, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't mean to, but it works quite nicely as we can kind of debate who we want to go and where they want to play. But we've got 2 players left, it's Grealish and Maddison. Now, this is a question that Southgate probably has to ask himself. Maybe not, because he might just have both these players in his team, and Adam Wharton might miss the cut, Eze might miss the cut, Bowen might miss the cut. But in my opinion, if I'm Southgate and putting my Southgate hat on, this is what I think is going to happen. I'm deciding between these 2 players, and Maddison has had a better year. So let's look at Maddison's stats. Maddison's played in 28 games, 68% in the starting 11, 13 goal contributions. We switched that with Jack Grealish. Obviously plays on a better team than the City team. Four goal contributions, 26% in the starting 11, only 20 appearances. But this is where the problems come in, because if I'm Gareth Southgate, I look at what Jack Grealish can give me in the 85th minute, or the 70th minute, or the 80th, whatever you need off the bench. His value, he can win you a penalty, he can create something for you. I think that might be more important. James Maddison is an excellent player, though, and could provide you with more depth potentially. And so for that reason, I am going to add James Maddison in there. I think there is a potential that you look to drop a guy like Adam Wharton, depending on how you view Phil Foden and whether or not Phil Foden can drop back and play here, or Jude Bellingham can drop back and play here. I think it's a difficult call. I think Grealish is going to have to be the one that misses out. His experience is very, very nice for this team, but he hasn't played enough in that City team for me to warrant a pick for him. So that'll do it. That is all 26 of my players that I would be taking to the Euros in Germany this summer. As I mentioned before, I will have a full every team, all 24 team Euro preview coming up soon. We're going to preview every single team, not as in depth as obviously this 26-man squad for England, but we'll look at key players, standout players. So make sure you subscribe and hit that like button. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.